For Article 5, we'll be identifying the incorporators and filling in their contact information. People often ask me if there are a specific number of board members that are required, and there are not, but I recommend starting with at least 2 board members. If you're interested in learning more about developing a board, look for our board member video to be coming soon. Now for Article 6, you're going to select if the corporation will or will not have members, and for us this was simply checking a box. Last but not least is Article 7, which in the state of Georgia is where you can include optional provisions. If you're planning to file for federal tax exempt status, which is for your 501c3, you'll want to add a purpose and a dissolution clause to your articles. In the case of the Georgia Corporations Division, the online application doesn't allow for us to include these clauses, and there's no specific article devoted to it. So what I do is I create these clauses generically, and then I'll just copy and paste them into the optional provisions field. Now doing this will help you to avoid having to amend the articles later in order to satisfy the federal 501c3 application requirements. And what people tend to do is they will file at the state level, but then when they get to the 1023 application, they don't realize that in that application they specifically ask you to state the paragraph and the page number where your purpose clause and where your dissolution clauses are located. So when you add these clauses to your articles of incorporation, specifically what they're looking for is the language that your corporation is organized exclusively for charitable purposes. Now you'll also want to describe what those charitable purposes are. I've included in parentheses here the note to describe the type of service. You'll want to take this out and include your description after this term here. Now, say you're organized to help the poor and homeless achieve self-sufficiency. That will be your description. If you're organized to help senior citizens, maybe homebound citizens, then maybe you would say that. If you're organized as the tutoring program to help economically disadvantaged poor children, you would say that. So you can use this paragraph verbatim, only changing this section. Now for the dissolution clause, you can use this paragraph as is. There is no need to make any changes to it. You definitely want to include your purpose clause and your dissolution clauses in your article filing. That will keep you from having to spend more money amending your articles of incorporation when you get ready to file for your tax exempt status. Now, last but not least, after you do all of this, you fill in all of your information, you pay your fee and submit for your filing for approval. In Georgia, the approval can take anywhere from 24 to 48 hours or longer, but after you get that approval, within 2 to 3 weeks, you should receive your mailed hard copies. Keep those copies because you're going to need to include them with your 1023 application if you are intending to apply for federal tax exempt status. Look for our video on filing for federal tax exempt status at a later time. In the meantime, I wish you good luck and I wish you well in your nonprofit entrepreneurial endeavors. Thank you for joining. There's one other change that you're going to make to the purpose clause, and that is this change here, where you included your description to help the poor and homeless achieve self-sufficiency. You want to make sure that within these brackets, take these brackets out and include your description as here as well. So the property of this corporation is irrevocably dedicated to helping the poor and homeless achieve self-sufficiency.